So yes, so we're recording. Let's see, first of all, big things coming up this week are, let's see, I think today is the first day of the week, the Hard Labor Cities Week of Hard Labor. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The Week of Hard Labor. I'm going to jump in on, what is that, Friday and start it, maybe? Just because I'm doing a 3-day refresh today. And I've got my herbal tea.
I know.
Yes. So what else? So there's that starting up. So that's a good thing to share. There's also, and along with that, I posted, I think I shared, did I share it on Boundless? It's Carl posted that about the money, the donation that he's doing. You might have seen it I posted it on my personal page.
Yeah, I saw it on your page. Trying to see if there's anything. Oh my gosh, sorry.
You're okay.
Reminder for the call.
Oh yes. Yeah. So I posted it on my personal page, but okay. I'll make sure if I didn't, I'll go back and I'll share it too. But it's starting today. Their Beachbody Foundation is giving $1 for the first 100,000 streams of the Week of Hard Labor workout. Okay. So that's one of the incentives to do that one, is because they're going to be, keeping track of who logs on and does that workout. And they're going to, for each time someone logs on to do that workout, they're going to give $1 up to $100,000 to, I think it's the Red Cross in Houston, or just somehow in Houston. I don't know exactly how they're, what they're giving to, but they're giving it to Houston.
Okay.
So that is in conjunction with the Week of Hard Labor. And then we have I have the salad group. I have a free, I can't remember what it's called. More Salad, Please, I think is the name of the group, that I have been, I'm getting some information and ideas from Stacy, Elliott, and Robin did a group, and looked really fun, and they got a lot of traction with it. So I've been inviting, I sent out an invite, call to action post last week for that, and got some good traction with that. And so I'm going to be messaging the people that are interested in that. I'm going to be doing that today to get them that information. We're going to start on the 11th. I had originally, I think, posted in the post said it was going to start on the 14th, because I was still in August, literally. I pulled up my August calendar and I was like, oh yeah, that's the second Monday in the month. And it's the 14th, but that's August 14th is the second Monday, and September 11th is when the salad group is going to start. So if you want to do a call to action post about that for yourself and then plug them into ours, or if you want to do your own group, you're more than welcome to do that. Just keep that in mind. We follow the calendar. I follow the Dream Big calendar, and since it's the second Monday, I'm trying to do the more of those free groups and that kind of thing. Yeah. I know we've talked a lot about the free groups and about implementing those, and I promise that one of these calls will be us talking about ways that we can do that, and ways that we can, just bouncing some ideas off about the free group. I kind of tend to wait until the last minute for those, and then I'm scrambling, and then it's, there's no time to plan something new. And so I have to go with something that I kind of already know. And that's kind of how this happened. I was I just need something good, real quick. And I was talking to Robin, and she was like, well, I'll add you to our group, and then you can just use it as you need. And so I'll be doing that for that group starting on the 11th. Free group. I'm not requiring Shakeology, but I'm going to tell them in the message that I send them today. I'm going to open it tomorrow. So it's starting, that's Monday, right? The 11th? Yeah. That's this coming Monday. So if they want some Shakeology, if they want to do a sampler, or if they want me to send them packets or whatever, I'm going to offer that in my message, but I'm not requiring it for the group. And then that'll just be something that I follow up with them at the end of the group to see if they want to carry on and do a challenge pack for the group that starts on the 25th. 6th.
Yeah.
No, yes, 25th.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm still working on a theme for that because a lot of people are doing a back to school group in September because of weird starting schedules and stuff, but that's what we're doing right now. So we can't do that. Although this group has been really, really great and very like interactive. So it did cross my mind for a second to just like round 2, round 2 back to school. But I think I'm going to I'll figure something else out. And
so I noticed like Carl posted that on September 11th that was like a new challenge group start date. And I was like, oh, I've never seen any calendars that follow that.
Yeah, they're all different. And it gets kind of confusing because there are people that, there's people starting on the second Monday and there's people starting on, the first of the month or, whatever, however that falls. So it's kind of confusing. I need to look and see and get some good ideas. I need to look back and see what I did last year. I save all of my flyers and like cover pages and like cover pics and that kind of stuff. So, but if you have any ideas for that, shoot them my way. Something that would be applicable to this time of year. I don't know, going into fall. I think I have a fall something or other.
Yeah, like I don't know.
I can't remember. I need to look back and see what I've done. And I'll post on Boundless and see if like, I'll post what I found and what I have. And then we can like talk about if that sounds good. Because I want to start like post, like I like to like invite, or if I do a call to action, I like to like specifically say, this is this kind of a group so that they can kind of know like, oh, well, that's kind of what I want to do. And it makes it easier for us to, be breadcrumbing and that kind of thing whenever you know, like what kind of stuff you're going to be talking about. Like we were doing with like I was, sharing salads and that kind of thing for the free salad group, or sharing things like back to school for the back to school group. Yeah. All of that. Yeah. So we'll work on that and we'll discuss. I think that's all news-wise. I know Super Saturday is coming up. There's a Super Saturday this month in area wherever. I'm having trouble finding one in my area, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But there's, they're all over. Kristen posted. I think Kristen posted about it in Dream Big. So there's like on the Beachbody website, you can go and like search for one that's near you. Okay. And those are awesome. I love them. They're so much fun. Even if you go by yourself, like did I go by myself once? I don't know. I've been with friends a couple of times. I think I went by myself once, but they're always fun and lots of good information and that kind of stuff. And so I encourage you to do that. It's one of those cool things you can show up for. But I think that's it as far as news goes. If I think of anything else, I'll post it. But basically what I thought was interesting and something that's been on my mind this week, something that happened, I don't know if you can call it happened, but something that came across my radar this summer specifically, when I was talking to a new coach that had signed up and was kind of interested in building the business and was looking into some training and that kind of thing. And she came to me with some concerns about the the fact that we use so many scripts and that kind of stuff. And, just she was concerned that she she didn't say that like this is how she felt about it, but that she wanted to make sure that people didn't feel like they were part of a script, that they that when we're reaching out and when we're inviting and that kind of stuff, that it's not like spanned, because I mean we've all had those those times whenever we've gotten those messages that you're like, that's totally a copy and paste, and it's pretty obvious that it is, and you're like, that's not cool, and it's just not personal, and you don't really feel like they care about you, and so what makes you think that I don't think you care about me, so what makes you think that I'm gonna like go with you or whatever. And so it just got me thinking about like why we have those, should we have them, what the purpose is, how to use them better, how to be careful that we don't come across that way. And so it was really interesting because I talked to her for a while and we were messaging back and forth, and just really thanked her for being honest and for, just being like, if you don't want to feel that way, I know that if you feel that way about the scripts, I'm sure that there's somebody else that does, or if you're turned off at all about the concept that that's what we use, then that's something that needs to be addressed, because it's definitely something that we're not going for. Like, we're not going for that whole like scripted, like spammed kind of feel at all. So just, I don't know, it made me think about wanting to be really careful that we don't, that we use the scripts in a way that that they're intended to be, but don't depend on them to the point that we're losing the like warm, the sincerity, that kind of thing. And so that's why it said sincerity and respect on the invite, because I was like, that's just something that I think we need to, if we feel like we're doing it well, one of those things that might be something that, we need to just keep in the back of our minds, that we're working on. So, first of all, like just the purpose behind having the scripts and like why we have them, I really depended on them, and I still use them to make sure that I'm like saying things correctly. Like, I know what I want to say most of the time, but I don't always know how to say it. It's there because we get the same questions a lot of the time. And so why reinvent the wheel? Why have, I'm going to answer this question and then 2 minutes later I'm going to have another answer. I'm going to have to type it all out again, that kind of thing. So it's a tool. Obviously, that's something that we use. And it's a tool that is helpful, especially as a new coach, to kind of start you out and get you more comfortable with what you're saying and how you're sharing and the information that we're giving out. So, but the thing that I want to constantly be thinking of myself is, am I using them to the point where like I'm dependent on them and people are starting to feel like they're getting the same thing over and over again? I have to be really careful when I'm like talking to someone, inviting someone that I've invited before, like to not just copy and paste and use the same message again. So I think that scripts are important. I think that they're useful. I think that it's a great tool to have as a new coach, even as a seasoned coach, just to kind of keep yourself in line. I mean, I know Kristen still uses, and it's kind of funny to go back, like, especially when I first started coaching, like I could go back and be like, okay, you totally said that to me. Like, it is funny. And I'm sure there are lots of people that can say that.
Yeah, I've thought of that often when we're talking about scripts,
Yeah, like, is that okay? Is that weird? Whatever. And honestly, like, that's fine. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny at the same time. Like, you were totally scripting me, but I totally get why it is. But I think if we see it as a tool and not a crutch. Like, I mean, it's just like food. Like, let's see food as a tool to get us where we want to go, and not a crutch that like carries us through our day, that kind of stuff. So seeing those, I don't think they're a bad thing to have. And I don't think that she was saying that they're a bad thing either. I just think that she was saying that we need to be careful. And I liked that she said that, because I feel the same way. So just some ideas of things to do, and I'm this is for everybody on the team. So Melissa, I don't feel like I'm like telling you,
no.
you need to be better about this. No, but like just some things to be careful of whenever you're using scripts. I mean, maybe you don't use scripts at all. Maybe you're really great at just thinking off the cuff and like on the fly, and you get somebody that has a question about something, and you know how to answer it, and it's no big deal. or maybe you have, maybe just you rely on that kind of organic flow to a conversation. Whereas like I use Invite 101 that goes through like specific steps. Like first you ask this and then they say this, and then you ask this and then they say this. And it kind of like, it leads itself down that path. So maybe you follow that kind of a thing where you're like from step to step to step, or maybe you go more organically. But whatever you choose and however you do that, script or not, make sure that it sounds like you, like make sure that it's in your voice. If you ever borrow something from somebody, Kristen's really good about like reminding us of that, like use this, but make it you. Make sure that it's in your voice. That's the reason why we ask questions. Like it's one of those things that we learn, I think, as children, like, and it's an important like communication tool where you're talking, and don't just talk like waiting, like don't ask a question waiting for the answer so you can talk again. Does that make sense? So like just to not be like when you're messaging someone or when you're talking to someone and you invite them to something, like don't just say something, don't say something and then automatically be thinking about the next thing you're going to say. Like to really listen, and just that concept of that respect, and like showing them like that sincerity, and being sincere and listening and really hearing them is what is going to show them the most respect and is going to give them the most honor in what you're doing. And really, I mean, listening and asking questions and being more them focused instead of you and like what you're going to say next is going to help you in the long run, because you're going to hear the need. You're going to hear that need that they have, that you're going to be able to speak to. So I don't know. It was just something something that I was thinking of, and I want us to be careful of, just to make sure, number one, that we it's our voice. When you're posting about something and you say something that your friends know what you sound like, like that's not how she usually talks, and it comes across and people know. And also just to listen more than you talk. And if they're going off in this direction and the conversation is going this way and it's not following the script, like don't let that like no, we have to go back this way, like let them lead, and let them be the lead and the guide of how that invite and how that conversation goes. Melissa, have you had any like interactions like that where it's like you kind of had to go a little bit rogue? Or I've had them a little bit more often now. I think maybe the longer that I coach, I'm kind of like, okay, maybe I'm just going to put that off to the side and just listen, and like, what do you need and what can we do with that?
Yeah. Like I feel like a lot of them kind of go a little rogue with, we're just like first it starts out with the invite and then they respond, and then we start talking, like I'll start asking questions about what their, goals are. And then somehow it ends up getting into like life and work. And then I'm like, when do I bring it back? And how do I be like, hey, remember you said you were interested? Yeah. And I've noticed you like, well, I have used some scripts, but I don't use like, hey girl, because that's not really like people would know it wasn't me. So.
And that's a perfect example of it. Like we use that a lot because it's like an easy way to transition. But like, so lately I've changed that, like, hi friend. Like I call people friend all the time. Like I call people like face to face, like when we're talking on the phone, or, like I called you friend like a million times. And when I'm posting or when I'm commenting, like that's how I talk. So you do, like, you have to, that's a really good example of like, don't just say it because that's how it's like posted, don't just say that because someone else does.
And I found like for me too, one thing that I have a hard time is like, okay, when people like if you follow the invite script, then if I'm like, nobody asked that question.
Right.
Like,
right. There are some that I'm like, they never say that.
Me, is there a cost here? I'm like, oh my gosh, if you would just ask me, it would feel easier for me to say, well.
Right. So something about that I've had a little bit, I've had some, mostly success. I haven't had anybody that's like completely turned off by it, but I was having trouble with like inviting and telling them what a challenge group was. And then, and if they didn't ask how much it costs, I felt bad just going into the spiel about like, this is all that we offer and what are your goals and how do you eat and like, do you take supplements? You know, like I felt weird going into that if they're like sitting here thinking that it's going to be free.
Yes.
So one of the things, on the document where it says like what it is, like what a challenge group is, and then right under that, when they ask how much does it cost, and then you go into like, hey, it's great to be able to tell them, I can get you more information about the cost later once I get some more information from you about like what your goals are and what you like and what you don't and what you're looking for. I sometimes like put those together.
Okay.
Like if they're like, hey, tell me more about this group, I'll go into, okay, it's an online group. This is what we work through. It's a safe place to be, you know, like it's comfortable, I can give you more information about costs once I get more details. Well, I can give you more details about costs once I get some more information from you. Would it be okay if I asked you some questions? So sometimes I combine those.
Okay.
And then at the end, I put, let's see, what is it? The end, there's a question at the end of like what a challenge group is. It's like, does this sound like something you would like to do or interested in? And I put that at the bottom instead. So like I go straight into, I can get you more details. Does this sound like something you would like to do?
Yeah.
I do that sometimes when I'm inviting and when they ask, when they're like, I don't know, tell me more about that.
Right.
Because it's just enough information. And I think people want to know that. Like, just and a lot of times I have to remind myself that a lot of times people don't know what to ask. Like I know I didn't know, like, is this the point where I ask, like, are you like, or is it even like polite? Like some people will just be like, hey, how much does this thing cost? But some people, like me, I was like, is that going to be rude if I ask her? You know, like, and I think I probably did at some point, or you know, whatever. But I can't remember that part. But I do that. Not always. You kind of have to feel it out. And that's one of those things that comes with time. And people are like, well, I'm nervous about, you know, you get nervous about inviting and you get nervous about how to respond. But that's not going to get any better until you do it more. And you know that, like, you know that. And really like inviting is not hard. Inviting can be, it can be something that is a little bit stressful and a little bit like you can get in your own head a lot.
Right, because it's being vulnerable in a different way.
Exactly. Because like you always feel like there's a certain element that, true or not, because it's not true, that they're going to reject you. It's not true that they're rejecting you, but that's always there. But that's not going to get any better by not doing it.
Yeah.
So the more you do it, the more you're going to feel out like the situation, like, does this person really, like, should I just jump in and be like, hey, this is how much it costs? Some people straight up ask me like, okay, if I do this, what is this going to cost me? Like, I really need to talk to my husband. And at that point you kind of have to go, okay, here's a really good deal, but then you kind of have to take a couple of steps back, and that just, again, feel it out, talk to the person, not like talk to the person. How am I trying to say this? Not don't just use the script because that's what it says to say.
Yeah.
Like you have to be making it personalized, making it sincere, and making it more about them than it is about you.
Yep.
And it's okay to apologize, right? Like, I think that's another form of sincerity. Like if you come across wrong, like, I don't know, last week, I think I had like 3 or 4 different times where I had to apologize to somebody, like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, I forgot where a friend lived, and I was like, how you doing, girl? Oh my goodness. And then I found out that she was like, she had like evacuated her house, and I forgot that she lived in Houston because she moved around a lot. And so I had like sent this message, like, just to check on her. I didn't invite her to anything, but I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been so long since we talked. How you doing? What's new? Da, da, da. And then I think I was like, oh, wait a minute. I think she might. So I went back and I figured out where she was and what was happening. And so I immediately messaged her back, and I was like, I am so sorry if that came across as like insensitive. I had totally forgotten like where you live. Like I move around a lot, but that's no excuse for me to not know where you are, you know, that kind of stuff. And I apologized, and I was just very real.
Yeah.
And she came back and she was like, oh, no, it's fine. So if you apologize, like that's a great form of sincerity, like putting yourself out there and being humble and saying, oh my gosh, I totally just opened my mouth and inserted foot. And I am really, really sorry. Or even if you're already in the middle of something and you have like jumped into an invite and people are like backtracking and like, whoa, I don't want to do that. It's okay to tell people like, I'm sorry, that did not come across right. The last thing I want to do is be insensitive or come across as insincere. This is something that I'm super passionate about, and sometimes that gets me in trouble. My mind gets ahead of my brain, and I want you to hear my heart in this. And so would you mind if I just backtracked a few little bit and asked you some questions about how I can serve you better? And like, if somebody said that to me, like, holy cow, like, please, you know. So so go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say, how do you be sincere in when someone what I'm kind of finding is I have one person in the challenge group right now, and then the other one had to wait on her husband, and I'm still waiting to hear on that. But the one that's in the challenge group, she did not want to do Shakeology, just the challenge pack. And I was like, okay, but like, how do you try to, I know, cause obviously that is a huge deal, obviously for
it's a big
income and stuff too. And then also will help them the best. So I'm like, I don't know how to really be sincere with saying Shakeology is important.
I like to say that I believe in setting you up for success on the long haul. I believe in giving you all of the tools to make sure that you reach your goals and that you get to those results that you want. And I have come to trust that this is the best way to do it. And that Shakeology, the nutritional support from Shakeology really does give like that missing link that we don't even know we're missing sometimes. Like, so be like, hey, I totally get that this isn't on your radar right now, or this isn't something that you feel like you need. But if you'll just trust me, and if you'll look at what I've done it and it works, and I want to share that with you. And I don't want you to miss out on any piece of this. I don't want you to miss out on any of that. And what kind of friend would I be if I had something that would like help you?
Yeah.
And that I knew would help you. But just because I'm worried about how you're going to take this, like I don't tell you. So I always go back to the money back guarantee, the bottom of the bag guarantee. I tell her you will help her get her money back if it doesn't work or if she doesn't like it. So like that tells her right there that like, it's not just like, oh, sorry, it didn't work for you. Okay, you're on your own. Right. Like I will help you and we will figure out what you need if this isn't something that you love. But I think you will. I think if you're anything like me that you will. I always lead with my fear. Like I can't tell you how many times I've been like, I really, really, really hope that I'm not coming across as a pest, but I want to make sure that I'm good about checking up on you. So that's a good, and like same thing about like getting her into the Shakeology and that kind of thing. Like, I don't want to push you about this. I don't want this to become something that you feel like that I'm trying to push on you. But I want to be really good about helping you because I told you I would. Like I told you that I was going to help you with this, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Okay.
There was something else that I was thinking of that I can't remember now. But yeah, that's hard.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are really, I don't know if it's so much the cost that I've noticed. It's more of like, oh, it's just another product. You know what I mean? They're really saying a product. Yeah.
And I mean, I mean, when it comes right down to it, like you'll pay a lot of money for something that you see a lot of value in.
Right.
So if you don't see any value in it, why would I get it? And so people are like, well, I don't see value in that. And so like, that's where our job comes in to show people the value in it, and which I'm constantly like trying to like, I'm like racking my brain trying to figure out like how to do that. And because I feel like I need to be, I think we all can be better about sharing Shakeology. I don't know why that part is so weird, like why it's more difficult maybe in our own brains. I don't know. So, but yeah, it's a deal, and it's hard to whenever you have those people that you're like, I know what this can do for you. So, but I mean, and it's funny because I mean, you do have those people that it just takes them a long time, and if they're not ready, they're not ready yet. And just knowing that you're sincere, knowing that you're there, knowing that you're not going to go anywhere, you're not going to like just abandon them if they don't do this. I think that goes a long way. And that's part of the reason why this has been on my mind, I think, because not only did my friend bring this up, just like, this makes me feel weird. And because she was plugging into trainings and it was all about the scripts and and I was like, I get that. I totally get that. Here's why we have them. Don't think they're bad. And she was but you're right that, I mean, she was totally right that we do need to, be careful of how we come across, to use them to the extent that it is a tool and not something that you're depending on, and not something that's coming across as insensitive or unfeeling or kind of cold. So, but yeah. Cool. Something I've been thinking about lately. But anything else?
No, I don't think so.
You're doing great.
Thanks.
Good. Yep. I've got to go finish filling out my tracker.
Right.
I'm about halfway done. It's hard because once it's done, I'm like, oh, good, I'm good. Like, this is fine. But like this part, I'm like, ugh. Get in my own head. But it's good. Kristen also has a really good post up today in Dream Big. I don't know if you've seen it or not yet. Just like action points and not really anything that we haven't seen before. But I love it whenever she like breaks it down and she's like, do this, do this, do this, do this. Check in when you're done. Like,
I have to check that out for sure.
Alrighty.
Cool.
Well, have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday.
Yeah, you too.
Tell everybody hello in the fam.
Yes, you too.
Have a good one.
All right, bye.
Bye, Melissa.